Welcome back to Sketchup number 12. This one is going to be continuing the conversation of Blade Runner and mainly focusing on Joy for the most part. This was part of SHEcember back in December. I believe it was about the 17th of December that I actually went ahead and drew this. It was just going to be a plain Jane, well, not completely plain Jane, but a cosplay pic of Meg Turney. And then once I got to coloring her, you'll see that in just a second. I went to go use my markers, and my flesh colored marker is pretty much done, and that's the reason I had to kick it into gear and make her a replicant product of that world. Is replicant product the way to go about it? She's not a replicant. She's more or less a companion for that world. She's a program. You'd say AI, but from all things presented, it seems like she just has a large processing account of pre-regulated, selections, which makes her one of the most simple and authentic, but at the same point gives you a glimpse of hope that maybe she could be more than she is, coming from the storytelling that somebody that was born from something that could never happen. This movie is intense. Honestly, if you haven't seen Blade Runner 2049, you need to. You need to see the regular Blade Runner, and you need to tie these together because there is so much to unpack with these. Joy is ruthless when it comes to her sentiment. A couple times during the movie, she acts as though everything you want to hear is exactly how she presents it. Whether you're trying to figure out different clues along the way, whether you're just trying to make it through the day, she is an echo chamber of everything you need to get you to the next point, which just makes her super treacherous. At some point you figure, is it programming? If she is this AI that is available to everyone, wouldn't she grow and characterize herself like how people say dogs take on their features of their human counter, like their human masters? Something similar like that. We see that with algorithms on YouTube and Facebook, that if you're kind of looking, if you even type something into a query or search, this is where I'm talking about. That marker died out, so it's time to change up, go pink, and some blue hair. So you see this in algorithms, that if you even kind of type something in the search bar, well, you have 3-4 ads pop up on the side that, well, how does it know that you were even thinking about that? Like, it's clearly design of the world we are living in. Then you get these moments that maybe she's able to break this code. You have that scene that's up on the roof where the first time Kay brings back the emulsifier, something like that, but it projects her hologram from this, basically a pen stick that he can carry around on him now, and it goes from her coding that's stored in his apartment, basically. You get this really real moment where she's in the rain, so the programming makes it so that she can see the raindrops on her skin, and it almost gives her the impression that she's a real person, like, and you watching it gives you the same sense. And there's these moments where 5-10 seconds later she's just so happy, and she's trying to profess this to Kay, and he says that she doesn't need to say that. Like, he just did it for something to do, I suppose. Him being a replicant, he doesn't need much. Obviously in this world there's not much to be had. He basically goes through life doing exactly what he needs. And this companion, that's the part that I get hung up on. Like, if he doesn't need basic necessities, if he's a replicant, if he doesn't have a soul, conscious, all that stuff, why would he need something to make it easier to process days? And I think it may have started out that he just got it because it was something to do and grew to attached to it. So wouldn't that make him more human? But wouldn't that make her closer to human? If she is this ruthless coding, it only makes it more human that she is able to just pull all these heartstrings all different ways. So then you get a point where she tells Kay to break her, basically puts her on the emulsion stick or whatever, but breaks her memory off from the apartment so he can run off and cops won't be able to check her memory banks for anything. She tells him to do that because then if that stick gets broke, well, she dies like a real person would die. So he has to take care of it like she would a real person. And it's at that point where you're like, maybe she has become more for him. Maybe she has become this point where it goes beyond coding. Even when she's about to die, she reaches out and professes her love for Kay. But then later in the timeline, he runs into this window model of her, and she's saying similar things to him that she just said earlier in the movie. It comes down to this point where she must just be a product. This coding is meant to upsell people that now that she is broke, he would have to get a new companion. He would have to pay for anything like that. He would have to pay for a new stick. Like, it is marketing in its purest sense. But on the same way, it's so treacherous because that's similar to how real life works. And there's this one phrase she repeats, and that's the driving point for this whole conversation. And when he runs into her for that last time in the movie, the window shop model, she kind of does this coy look, and if you look back to the other one, it's that picture where he's standing on the bridge and she's that giant hologram. She comes down to his level and asks, and just plainly states, "It's been a day." And she says that early in the movie, and it's like meant to soothe him, like, I'm sure he's had a rough day. He's a Blade Runner shooting replicants and hunting them down and whatever. But it's so reassuring to the point where when he realizes that she was only ever coded to say that, it becomes even more heartbreaking because he did start to feel for her. And when she was untimely killed by love, I just love saying that. Like, what movie brings these ideas forward? This is so cool. But you also start to wonder how long Kay has been awake or alive, for the most part. Him and Decker from the first movie, it's ambiguous to when they were set into motion, when these replicants were set up with memories and actually put into the world for their cause. It's so trippy. Write some ideas down below. Let's keep this conversation going. I'm loving Blade Runner 2049. I will probably have more to speak on it at a later date, but for now, that's the ideas I'm going to put in your head, and I hope you get just as much out of this movie that I got. So thank you to all my Patreon supporters. If you haven't been around social media for the last couple days, we have launched the Kickstarter. It is running. It is going well. I'll link down below for that. I'll link to my Patreon. You could read my comics online, all this other stuff. Coming Monday, you'll have Stranger Things episode 8 from season 2. And then we'll be back to the Wednesday catch-up and Friday sketch-up as well. Nearly wrapping up SHEcember, but I'll leave that for now. Peace, and I'll check you in later.